Hi everyone, welcome to Excel Virtually Global. I'm Belle, I'm an analyst at Some Product. Today we will be covering Excel tricks about how to split range values. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below or email me. We will get back to you as soon as possible. You might want to ask, why does split range values matter? So in real life, the data we receive won't be always clean, nice, and ready to be used. We might encounter datasets like this, mix of letters, numbers, and punctuation. Without a clear structure, deriving insights or performing any analysis become nearly impossible. So before we start our analysis or modeling, we need to clean it first. Sometimes we want to keep the numbers, sometimes we want to separate them and keep the information separately. So today, our goal is to turn the table from this into this. Before I provide my solution, you can pause the video and have a go. Welcome back. The solution I provide is by using Power Query. If you have any other way solving the question, you're welcome to leave a comment below. First, let's open the Excel that has the example dataset. We can see for some of the data, we can just separate the letter and the numbers. But for A and B and D, we need to expand the range that is included in the hyphen. For example, we want to expand the A325 to become A3, A4, and A5. Also, another problem is that we need to get rid of the commas. So the very first step is to load the source data into Power Query. Click any cell within the table, go to the Data tab in the ribbon, and under the Get and Transform Data group, there is a From Table or Range. Click it, and you can see the Power Query is opened. So let's rename the query by entering data into the name field within the query setting pane. Next, we will split the group column. The first step is to split it by commas and separate multiple values into individual entries. To do this, select the group column. In the Power Query ribbon, go to the Transform group, and under the Text column group, there's a split column. Click it and select by delimiter. You can see you can choose to split by comma, but if you can go to our dataset, you can see our data is separated by comma and space. So we need to choose custom and type comma and space. And also we need to expand the advanced options. You can see it's set into columns in default. We have to choose rows and click OK. It should then look like this. You can see it's listed without comma. Now the comma problem is fixed. Next, we continue splitting the column. This time we separate the letters and the numbers. Similar to the prior process, we go to the Transform in the Power Query ribbon and select Split Column under the Text column group. This time we select by non-digit to digit. To streamline the process and prepare for the next step, click on the formula bar and manually rename the column headers by modifying the formula. So we can change the first column to group point 1 to group, and change the second column to the start, and then rename the third column into end. Next, if we take a look into the start column, we can see there are still some hyphens in here. So next up, let's go to the Transform ribbon and go to the Any Column group. there's a replace values. Click it. So the value to find is just a hyphen. And we want to just remove it, so we replace with a space. And click OK. You can see the hyphens are now removed. Okay, it looks much better now. So far, we have resolved the comma problem, and also we have separated the letters and the numbers. Next, we want to expand the range values. So you can see the start column and the end column are set into the text format in default. To expand the values, we need to change them to the whole number first. So let's select the ABC symbol and change it to the whole number. Now there are some rules in the end column. For example, the first row, the end number is null. That means we don't need to expand it. It's just the A1. But for the second row, the start number is 3, the end number is 5. That means we need to expand from A3 to A5. So let's go to the column ribbon, and under the general group, click the custom column. And then we want to rename the column name to value. For the formula, as we have discussed before, if the end column equals null, then we just have the start column. If it's not, else, then it should start from the start column to the end column. If we click OK, we can see there's a new value column here. It's a list, so we can't really see the numbers into the table, but if we click one of them, it will return the list value here. So if we go to the second list, it should be 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's correct. Since we have generated the value list and we have included the start and end values into the list, we can simply just remove these two columns. So hold Control and select the group and value column. Right-click on any of the selected headers and then choose Remove Other Columns. Or you can just hold Control and select the group and value column, and go to the Home ribbon and select Remove Columns, then click Remove Other Columns. This will return the same result. Okay, now we finally make it to the last step. So now we want to expand the value list here. So we go to the little icon next to the value and select Expand to New Rows. Again, the value format has been set to text with numbers. We need to change it back to a whole number. So we click the icon here and select the whole number. And now our table looks good. We are ready to close and load it to our Excel. So we are hoping to put it in the same worksheet with the original table. Now everything looks good. So now we have changed the yellow table into the green table, but there's gonna be a new question. So how are we gonna change the green table back into the yellow table? Before I provide my solution, you can also have some time to think about the question.
Welcome back. How do you find this question? Do you think it's easier to combine the ranges or to split them? So today I'm gonna use the Excel to solve the question, and if you have any other way of doing that, please let me know. You can leave a comment or email me. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, let's get started. Before we do anything, let's have a look at the dataset to see what exactly we need to do. So we need to change the green to the yellow table. The first thing we notice is that we need to group these A, B, C, and D, the letters. We need to put the same letters in the same row, and also for these range values, we need to put them into, for example, the 3, 4, 5, we need to change it to 3 to 5. We need to add a hyphen. And also for those numbers that are not included in the values or included in the different ranges, we need to separate them by commas. Okay, let's get started. So the very first step we would like to do is to see how many unique letters included into the group column. So let's first create a number, a name for this list and change the form. Okay, so we will use the unique function. This will help us to figure out how many exact letters in this column. So it returns A, B, C, D, which is correct. That's all we have in this column. And next, we will see like how many unique values that has the same letter we have it here. We will call it unique values for A. The reason we only do it for A is because it might be easier to understand. So we're gonna change these columns that start with A back to the first row, and then we can use the same way do it for B, C, D. Okay, so let's also filter everything in this column, the value, which this column equals to A. And we can also add for sort unique first to filter out the same values, and also use sort to arrange them from small to large. Now we're facing the most important part, how to identify which values should be included into the same range. So the easiest way to think about it is to use the next value to minus the former value. If the difference is larger than 1, for example, it's 2, 3 minus 1 equals 2 here, then 1 and 3 should be included into the different ranges. But if the difference is just 1, then they should be included into the same ranges. For example, the 3, 4, 5 here and the 7, 8 here. Okay, let's create another column to calculate the difference between the value in the same list. Here we're gonna use the VSEC function. The VSEC function helps us to combine multiple arrays into one array vertically. The reason why we need to use it here is because you can see in the list we have the first value as 1, but we have no number to minus the form number, right? Because this number doesn't have the former 1. So we can add a number as 0 for the list. So the list will be, I will return a list. First will be 0, and then will be the array we have in the left. And next, we can use the drop function to help compensate for this shift down by cutting off the last row of the stack, because we don't really need this array. Let's use the drop function for this array and -1 to remove the last one. And this is the list we get. So we got the 0 and 1, 3, 4, 5, 7. And now what we have to do is to use the list in H column minus the list in I column. So that will be pretty simple. It's just the array we select minus the list we created. Yeah, so you can see from the number 2, we need to create the new ranges, which is correct. And here's another number 2. We need to create another list for the 7 and 8. After we have created this list can help us to identify which values can be included into the same ranges. So let's name another column called index. So we will assign an index number for each of the values. If they have the same index number, it means they should be included into the same range. Here we're going to use the scan function. So the scan function in Excel returns an array of intermediate values by scanning a list and applying a function cumulatively. So here we're going to assign the first arguments as 0. So everything in the start will be assigned an index as 0. And the list we're going to look at is the I column. And if it's larger than 0, if it's true, then we should plus 1 with the 0, with the number before. So we should use the sum function. So let's have a look at the result this return. So for the very first one, the index should be 0. That's correct. But for the second, the 3 to 5, it should be included into the separate ranges. So we should use 0 plus 1. They should have the same index number as 1. Sorry. And for the 7 and 8, it's different from the 5 before. So these two numbers should be included into another separate ranges. So they share the same index as 2. Since we have created the index number, now we can try to get the final result. So let's name this as result. And in here, we're going to use the group by function. And let's take a look about the group by function first. So the group by function allows you to create a summary of your data via a formula. So the first argument should be the row figures. There should be the information you want to identify that you wanted to group with. So in this situation, our row fields should be the index number. And the second would be the values. These are the information that you wanted to identify that share the same row fields here. So in this case, it should be the unique values in column H. And then we want to combine them together, so into text. So we're going to use the lambda function. So the lambda function helps you to create customer functions for common use formulas in Excel. So we define a group here which is our group number, and we want to present the A first, the unique letter, and then we want to show the group number. And one thing to be noticed here is that in some of the ranges we have multiple values, which means we need to add a hyphen between the lowest and highest number in the range. For some of the ranges we only have one number. In that case we don't need any hyphen. So that's why we need to add an if function here. If the number of rows in the group equals 1, then we don't need a hyphen. If it's not, we need a hyphen plus the maximum number of the group. And you can see there's a total here, and the total number is totally wrong because we don't have all of the A1 to A2. That's because in the group by function, we didn't use the total depth arguments. If we choose 0 for that one, then there won't be any total. Yep, so everything we want is in the second column. That's why we need to get rid of the first one. So let's use the drop function we used before to get rid of the first column. Yep, this is what we get at the moment. And now we need to use another function. It's called array2text function. It helps you to return an array of text values from any specific range. So let's see how it works. Yeah, so that's what we get. It's exactly what we have in the first row of the final table we want. And the next step will be generating everything for A, B, C, D at the same time. So here we're gonna use the map function. The map function combines the lambda function we can loop through each unique letter, the A, B, C, D, and processing one group at a time. And using map function, we can combine the A, B, C, D, the group results in just one formula. So let's start with writing the map function. So the first step will be get all distinct letters from the table. So that will be using the unique function and filter the group column. So in this way, we can get the result A, B, C, D, and that's correct. And then we're gonna use the lambda function. So first type will be the number of the letter we have in this turn, and we use the let function. So here we're gonna get the value, the unique value for each letter, and so we're gonna use the same thing in the H column, the unique values for A here. We're gonna use the sort and unique function and filter the value column. Filter the value column where the group has the same letter with the type. And then let's use a big combo for the array2text function This helps us to turn the array into text. And here we're going to use the drop function. Since we want to get rid of the table we get from the group by function. Remember, the group by function will get us first column will be the index and the second column will be the result we want. So we want to drop out the first column, the index column. And now here we are the group by function. So inside the group function, we need to first get the value changes and then use the value changes to assign an index for each of the value. So let's use the scan function here. So the first should be 0. It will be the same with what we have done before. And we use the value to minus the former value, where that's where we use the VStat function. And the VStat function, we assign the first value to be 0, and we use the drop value, a drop function, to get rid of the final value of the array. So that should be drop value minus 1. Yep. And the value difference we have in here, the value minus the VStat function, it should be larger than 1. So we can sum it to get the index. Yep. So far so good. The next step, we will get the value. This is still in the group by function, and we're gonna use the lambda function, same in the k column here before, to print, to assign how we want the results to print it. Use the lambda and group, and the first we want would be the type, the letter. And then we want to follow it with the group number. And then, like what we discussed before, we have two kinds of ranges. If in the range there is only a single value, we don't need any hyphen. So that's why we need a if function here. If the number of rows in the group equals 1, then we don't need any hyphen. But if it's not, then we need a hyphen followed by the group, the max number of the group. Yep. And that would be the drop function. We need to get rid of the first column, so we select 1. Yep. And I think that's the end of the formula. Oh, we're missing an end here. And there's one thing more we need to change is the drop the non-totals, no totals for the table array we return. Yep, and this is what we get. Let's assign a table name here. And this looks exactly what we have in the yellow table. This is the end of the session. Thanks for joining me today. You can also find this topic on Sun Products website. We post one challenge on the last Friday of each month, and we post the suggest solution on the first Monday of each month. If you are looking for more challenges, you can go to our website and go to the Insights section, select blog, and under the categories, our questions are named under the Final Friday fix, and our solutions are named under the Monday morning ruling. Thank you again for coming to this session. Hope this session can help or inspire you for your own business. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me through email or give us feedback in the comment below. See you next year.